All right, guys, what do you think of the Alumni beanie? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany. I'm so excited for you to be here today. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make my Alumni beanie. This beanie was inspired by my kids. My daughter's in high school. Her school colors are red, black, and white. My son is in middle school. His school colors are red, black, and white. And I thought how fun, as the weather is starting to cool down, that we can start, creating beanies and maybe create beanies that help support our kids in their schools that they're going to, whether it be high school, middle school, college, or even our favorite sports teams, whoever you want to support. So this is super exciting. I know whenever my kids go to an event for their school, they always want to wear something in the school colors. And so I've already made 2 beanies and they're not mine anymore. They've already been taken. So that I'm super excited about, and I hope you are too. Now, the level of this crochet project, it's hard to say. I'm going to say it's an easy level. The brim itself is made with front post double crochet, back post double crochet. Now that throws it into an intermediate level because those are intermediate level stitches, front post double crochet, back post double crochet. Plus I'm working them in the color black, which makes them very difficult to see. However, that's just for the brim. And I'm hoping that even if you can't see what I'm doing because of the black, that I'm verbally helping you walk through what I am doing, so that way you know what I'm talking about or what I'm trying to show you. Also, I will have video references where I'll be like, if you can't see what I'm doing or need some extra help, check out this video here where I'm showing you how to do post stitches, or check out this video here where we are basically doing the exact same thing, but the color in that video is much lighter and you can see the stitches much easier. So I will have references for you for extra guided help if you need that. Then after the brim, it's just single crochets. That's it. Single crochet stitches, some spike stitches that I'm going to show you how to do, just a couple spikes, and then decrease single crochet stitches as we are closing the beanie at the top. And then the pom-pom, which is easy. All right, so that all is super beginner friendly. It's just the brim that's not. So I'm hoping that I can explain the brim easy enough for you. If you're struggling with the brim, feel free to change out the brim. Okay, I will show you in the pattern what you need to look for to help you out. Okay. All right, the terminology I'm using for this project is all US terminology, so whenever I'm referring to the name of a stitch, I'm using US terms. And the dimensions. I'm going to be making this beanie in this tutorial for an adult medium size beanie. However, in the pattern, I have all varying sizes that you can make, from preemie all the way to adult large. So if you want to make this beanie for any other varying size, the pattern should have you covered. It's going to be quite lengthy and extensive because I'm going to be explaining every different size. And so I'm trying to be very helpful. When I write out my patterns, I try to write instructions the way I speak, so it's easier for you to understand what I'm asking you to do. Also, yes, there's going to be some variations. A 0 to 3 month beanie will be shorter and smaller than an adult large beanie. So you will see less rows, less rounds involved. What I'm hoping for is, as I'm showing you visually in the video what I'm doing, that you can translate that into the directions that I show you. So that way you're like, oh, that's what she's doing. Got it. That is the goal. Okay, so that's everything. When you're ready to go, let's dive right into what materials I used to make this beanie. The materials that I used for the Alumni beanie include yarn that is a size 5 weight yarn. I liked this yarn because it looked like it was wool, which I appreciate because I like the warmth and the comfort of wool. But I know that a lot of people out there are allergic to wool. I was super excited when I found Michael's Yarn Loops and Threads Charisma yarn. It looks like wool, but it's 100% acrylic. So it worked up exactly how I wanted it to, ideally, and it was perfect. So if you are allergic to wool, you do not have to worry. This yarn is 100% acrylic. But yes, it is a size 5 weight, bulky, chunky yarn. And the colors that I have here are an off-white, a red feather, and black. I liked the colors that looked a little more vintage, not crisp like a bright white and a sharp red. I wanted colors that looked a little bit more worn down, and that's what I got here. So super excited about that. The alumni beanie that I am making is for a high school. These are the high school colors, so that is the connection. I encourage you to change the colors here and make or choose colors that are personal to you or whoever you're making the beanie for, whether that be a professional sports team, a college, either just a college alumni where you're representing or supporting the college, or a college team, a high school team, or just alumni to a specific high school. Just have some sort of connection. If you want to, you could even do some or pick colors of something else they're interested in, like John Deere tractors, if you know somebody that loves John Deere tractors, or if you know somebody who's a big Harry Potter fan, switch these colors up to the house that that person would be in. You know, find something that the person is interested in. Find if there's a color palette attached to what they're interested in, and then try to see if you can find those colors. That way when you make this beanie, it connects to that person and they have this amazing connection to the beanie and they love it that much more. All right, so I do encourage you to find colors that fit you best. These are all Michael's Loops and Threads yarn, but if the Loops and Threads line, the Charisma line, doesn't have the color you are looking for, you can absolutely do a Google search and you might find something comparable at Premier or Lion Brand or Bernat even. Just do a quick look to see what you can find as a Google search, really. The crochet hook that I am using for this project is a K, or a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. You will also need a yarn needle or tapestry needle to weave in your ends at the end of the project. I recommend that you use a yarn needle or tapestry needle with a larger eye here. It doesn't have to be the largest eye, but just an eye hole large enough for this bulky, chunky yarn to fit through it so you can weave in those ends. Pair of scissors. A stitch marker will be super helpful because we are going to be working in continuous rounds, but we are going to be switching colors every so many rounds. So you're going to want to know exactly where the round will begin and end so you know where to tie off the row round and attach the new color for the new round. So having a stitch marker will be helpful, or a paper clip, safety pin, even a scrap piece of yarn that you can slip in a stitch space, and I mark that stitch space as what it is, you know, the first or last stitch space. Optional, but I do recommend that you have on hand for this project, is a tape measure or some kind of measuring tool to help guide you in what you're doing. Make sure you're staying within dimension. And also optional is fabric glue. I like to use this when attaching the pom-pom at the top of the beanie. Now, I don't put the fabric glue on the pom-pom and then just stick the pom-pom onto the hat and hope it sticks. No, that's not what I do. What I do is I have the tie for the pom-pom that I will weave into the beanie, and I'll tie 3 knots on the inside of the beanie with these long strips that are attached to the pom-pom. If you've ever made pom-poms before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about these long strips that you will insert into the beanie and tie 3 knots. If you've never made a pom-pom before, I'll put a card here at the top of the screen showing you how you can make a pom-pom both just using your hand and also using the pom-pom maker. So I got you covered right there. What I will do is, after I make those 3 knots on the inside of the beanie, I will cut the yarn short, and then I will attach just a little bit of fabric glue, just a dab of fabric glue right there on the knot, and then I will fold over the little tails onto the glue so that way the glue is completely covered up and concealed, and then the knot is secure and the pom-pom isn't going to get loose on you or fall off or any of those things. It is secure on there. Okay, so that is optional, but it's a trick that I use and it seems to work out really well. Okay, I'm gonna have links to everything you see here in the description section and comment section below this video. If you want to get your hands on anything specific, just click on that link. It will shoot you straight to where you can purchase it and have it shipped directly to you out of ease and convenience. Otherwise, go through your yarn stash, see what you have at home, and let's get started making this alumni beanie. To make the beanie, there are multiple different sizes that you can choose to make. I put in the pattern all the possible sizes that you could want, plus how you can deviate or make the beanie even larger if you want to. The size that I'm going to be making in this tutorial is an adult medium size. That's the size that I'm wearing right now. It seems to be a very common size for teenagers and adults, though if you do want to make a larger size, there is an adult large on the pattern, and if you want to go even larger than that, feel free to I'll show you how to increase the pattern to make it as big as you want, but I will have in the chart all the way down to preemie, so you'll be good to go there. We are going to actually start with the brim of the beanie, this part right here. I'm going to begin with a long enough tail for me to weave in the ends at the end of the project, create the slip knot, attach the crochet hook. Now for me, adult medium beanie, I'm going to be chaining 50 chains. 1, 2, 3, 49 and 50. Great. For row 1, we are going to make a double crochet stitch in the third stitch space or the third chain from our crochet hook. So looking at our V-stitches, 1, 2, 3, double crochet in that third chain, and then make 1 double crochet stitch in every chain all the way across. You should end with, 2 less stitches because we skipped 2 chains, so 2 less stitches than what you chained. So I'm going to end with 48 double crochet stitches. I will meet you at the end of row 1 to show you what we do differently next. All right, double crochet in the last stitch space here. We've just finished row 1. For row 2, we will start by chaining 2. 1, 2. We will turn our work. That chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Doesn't count as anything other than getting us onto the next row, okay? We will begin row 2 by making 2 front post double crochets and then 2 back post double crochets. And that is going to be the repeat pattern for row 2. 2 front post double crochets, then 2 back post double crochets. We will actually begin by making our first front post double crochet around that very first chain or that first stitch here. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my crochet hook around, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 and 2. Great, there's 1. Front post double crochet 2. I know I'm working with black and that is the hardest to see, so I'm going to try to use my fingers to help guide you as much as possible. So 2 front post double crochets, then 2 back post. So yarn over, back, back post, 1, back post, 2. If you'd like a little extra help with the front post double crochet stitches or the back post double crochet stitches, I did a really good tutorial on the front post double crochet, back post double crochet rib stitch. I'll put a card here at the top of the screen, and that shows you much more clearly. The yarn is more friendly to see, and I show very slowly how to do this post stitch. Okay, and then continue to front posts, double crochets, 2 back post. So there's 1, 2 front posts, and then 2 back posts. And that's the repeat pattern for row 2. I will meet you at the end of row 2 to show you what we do differently for row 3. At the very end of row 2, we are ending with 2 back post double crochet stitches. There's 1. Now if you look at the very end here, we see 2, okay, but we have this little bitty thingy right here. We don't touch this. This is the chain 2 that got us to the next round. The chain twos that we do to get us to the next round do not count as stitches. So we're just going to ignore that altogether and kind of maybe even tuck it in and attach it to that stitch right next to it. Okay, I just don't want you to think that that last chain two is something that you need to put anything around. Don't, because it will mess with your stitch count. Also, if you wanted to, you could count, and you should have the same number of stitches in row 2 that you did in row 1. Awesome. All right, to move on to row 3, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, turning our work. Now, depending on the size of the beanie that you are working up, you may stop after row 2 for the brim. You may stop after row 3 for the brim. With this adult medium-sized beanie that we're making 4 rows for the brim, okay? So if the pattern that the size of the beanie that you're making cuts off sooner for the brim, just stop right there and then go to the next step. Okay, so for row 3, we're going to just continue working the post stitches so the stitch lines continue up. So below here, I would see 2 front post double crochets. So I'm going to continue that along and make 2 front post double crochet stitches. We want those lines to continue solid all the way up. I apologize if it's difficult to see the stitches with the black. Next 2 stitches are 2 back post stitches here. So I'm going to continue that. And I'm going to make a back post double crochet stitch around each back post double crochet stitch. Again, I want to continue. I just want to do the exact same looking stitch stacked on top of each other. And that is going to be the repeat pattern all the way across for row 3. Just look at the stitch that was made below. If it looks like a front post double crochet, then continue that line solid upward. Okay, go ahead and repeat this all the way across row 3. I will meet you at the end of row 3 to show you how we will work row 4. Perfect. Okay, so for row 4, in the beanie that we are making, we have 4 rows for the brim. Row 4 is done the exact same way we did row 3, in the sense that we, again, are chaining 2. Again, we're turning our work. And again, we are referring to the stitches below and continuing the line. If the stitch below looks like a front post double crochet, then we will make a front post double crochet. If the stitch below looks like a back post double crochet, then we will continue the back post double crochet. Another tutorial that I reference, I do something very similar to this in, is the Tiffany top. It's how I started the very bottom of the Tiffany top. So even if you want to just enter into the tutorial, watch that first part where I make the bottom brim of the Tiffany top. We are basically doing exactly that, but I think in that video I'm making 3 post stitches repeated, where in this situation I'm making 2 post stitches repeated. I'll put a card up here for you, just in case you want to take a peek. All right, just go ahead and repeat all the way across for row 4. It's at the end of row 4 that we're going to finish off the brim, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So I'll meet up with you right after row 4 to show you what to do next. Once we have reached the end of row 4 of the brim, grab your scissors. We're going to go ahead and cut about a 6 to 8 inch long tail, and we're going to use that tail to weave in both sides, or join both sides of the beanie together, so that way we have our round shape that we want. So again, cutting our yarn and then tying off our work. Great. Grabbing our yarn needle, tapestry needle. Perfect. Okay, so to join these 2 sides together, it doesn't really matter if you have one side go over the other. Doesn't really matter. Just have one side on top of the other side here, and then grab your yarn and join by going over and through. And then over and through. And we don't have to do anything pretty, don't have to do anything specific. Over, through. Just make sure that one side is on top of the other so you're not just accidentally weaving through one side of the work and not actually joining the two ends together. Okay, end at the very bottom. Great. And at the very end, release your yarn needle. Take the two tails and tie those into a knot or two. I like 2 knots here. Perfect. And we're going to go ahead and just leave those out. So we will weave those in later. But now you have your circle. We are going to take this and we're going to fold it inside right. So where we just joined is going to actually be facing on the inside of the work. So if there were any spots that were more extra, like pointed, that's all going to be put on the inside and we don't have to worry about it. We are now going to start working the main body of the beanie. So I like to start with a completely different color than what the brim of the beanie was. Starting with a tail long enough for us to weave in the end at the end of the project, creating our slip knot, attaching our crochet hook. We are ready to go. Okay, so it doesn't really matter where you start. I like to start where we joined the two edges together, but it doesn't really matter where you begin. Just go ahead and insert your crochet hook in the top of one of those post stitches. Now what's great about working the post stitches here opposed to doing that single crochet back loop only is we are not working on the side of rows. We are actually continuing to work our rows or work our stitches upward. Slip stitch to attach the yarn to the project, chain 1. For round 1, because we are working in rounds now, for round 1 of the main body of the beanie, we are going to make 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch space all the way around. So single crochet in that same stitch space we just slip stitched into, and that is our first stitch. And then just make 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch space all the way around. It's important that you count this round. This is the foundation round, the very first round, working the main body of the beanie, and we just joined the two sides of the brim together. So you want to make sure that you have the same number of single crochet stitches that you had post stitches in the brim. We didn't change the count of the stitches at all. So for me, I want to make sure that I have 48 single crochet stitches in this first round. Again, this is the round that is the foundation and it sets up the rest of the beanie. So having this number correct is super important. 47, and I'm so glad that I counted because I would have stopped right there at 47, but I know I need to add 1 more single crochet stitch to have that 48 stitches that I need to have. So 48. Great. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch to close round 1, and that keeps everything flat. Now, why am I going to go ahead and do that here opposed to other rounds? Because after round 1, I'm going to go ahead and work continuous rounds. This is the foundation row, and I just want to make sure that everything is flat, secure, and good to go. Okay, go ahead and grab that stitch marker. Grabbed our stitch marker. Chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch space we just slip stitched into, and then place our stitch marker in it. Perfect. That is the very first stitch space of the round. For round 2, we're just making 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch space across. I will meet you at the end of round 2 to show you how we will work the continuous round onto round 3. Here we go, and 48. There we go, 48. Perfect, because this right here, we've marked the very first stitch space. So I'm going to move my stitch marker. We have just finished round 2. Round 3, we're going to begin the continuous rounds. So we're not slip stitching. and chaining 1, I'm going to go ahead and just continue making a single crochet stitch in the next stitch space, but then pause and mark that so we know that is where the rounds begin and end, okay? And then continue working 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch space all the way around. I'll meet you at the end of round 3 to show you how we will change colors and start the spike stitch. Just finished round 3. To close round 3 and start the new color, we're going to slip stitch into the same stitch space that the stitch marker is in. So slip stitch, grab our scissors, cut a tail long enough for us to weave in the ends at the end of the project. We can remove that stitch marker now. Okay, yarn over the tail we just cut. Pull through the loop on a crochet hook, pull tight for a tie off. Perfect, and now everything looks very straight right there. Perfect, we want that because we want our different sections to be straight. Okay, so grabbing the next color you want to play with. I want to use the off-white color. Starting with a tail long enough for me to weave in the ends at the end of the project. Create our slip knot. Attaching the crochet hook. Great. I like to begin by slip stitching into the same stitch space that I slip stitched into to close the round below. So that way I'm starting and stopping in the same spot, but you can honestly begin wherever you want to begin. Chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch space that we just single crocheted in. Make 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitch spaces. 1, 2, so a total of 3 single crochet stitches right here, and then spike stitch. So finding the next stitch space and then going down to round 1. So 1, 2, following this down and inserting into that stitch space of round 1. Yarn over and pull through, and when you do pull, let it be loosey-goosey. You don't want it to be tight, because if you're tight, then this is going to squinch in and it's going to bunch, and we don't want that. We want everything to kind of lay on top of the work and not be so aggressively tight. All right, that stitch space that's covered is now used. The next stitch we're going to make is going to be in this next open stitch space. Make 1 single crochet stitch in the next 3 stitch spaces. So 1, 2, 3, and then spike stitch. Next stitch space here, go all the way down. There we go. Spike stitch. Great. That is the repeat pattern for round 4, is 3 single crochets and then spike stitch. 3 single crochets and then spike stitch. Go ahead and repeat all the way around for round 4, and I will meet you at the end of round 4 to show you what we do next. We are actually going to be making continuous rounds here. So go ahead and insert your crochet stitch marker, or just stitch marker, in that first stitch space. Single crochet into that stitch space and move the stitch marker right there. And continue working 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch space all the way around for the next 2 rounds. Okay, so we're going to have a total of 3 rounds of white, or 3 rounds of this color, and then we're going to come back and we're going to close off that color and start the new color. I will see you in 2 rounds. Just finished, so this was 4, 5, 6, round 6, and we are ready to color change. So cutting the yarn, tail long enough for us to weave in the end. I'm going to go ahead and single crochet there and then slip stitch into the stitch space that the stitch marker is in. So slip stitch, then yarn over and pull that tail through the loop on your crochet hook for a tie off. Great. Attaching the next color of yarn. Okay, so for me, I have a deviation here in this tutorial that I think will help some of you if you don't have a size 5 weight yarn, you're just kind of using what you have in your stash, and you have a bunch of 4 weight yarn. I ran out of yarn of the black. I ran out of the black yarn. I worked enough black for this beanie and the pom-pom, And apparently there was not enough black to make a second beanie. So what I did is I have 2 skeins here of black size 4 weight yarn, and I'm going to work them together to bulk them up to be the same exact weight or same exact thickness of a size 5 bulky yarn. And here, I'll even put it up next to this red size 5 so you can see that they are comparable. And it seems to be working up really well. So if you run out of size 5 weight yarn, or you don't have any size 5 weight yarn and you want to use a size 4 because you have it, then put 2 or use 2 size 4 weight yarns together to achieve that size 5 weight yarn. So together, tail long enough for me to weave in the ends at the end of this project, create slip knot. All right, so again, slip stitching into the same stitch space that I slip stitched into to close round 6. Great. Chain 1, single crochet into the same stitch space that we just slip stitched into. Perfect. And next we're going to go ahead and make our spike stitch. So I made the spike stitches offset of each other so they aren't in a solid 3 single crochet spike stitch, 3 single crochet spike stitch. I wanted to have some variation here. So here I single crochet in the first stitch space and then spike stitch in the second stitch space. So finding that second stitch space, going down to round 4 or the first round of the other color, and spike stitch. And then we go about the single crochet in the next 3 stitch spaces and then spike stitch. Stitch space, go all the way down. There we go. 1, 2, 3, all the way down. Repeat all the way around for round 7. I'll meet you at the end of round 7 to show you what we do for round 8 and 9. Okay, perfect. Great, we've made our way all the way around. Now again, we should still continue to have the same number of stitches in every single row. We haven't changed anything except for adding a spike. That's it. So again, make sure you continue to count at this point to make sure you have the same number of stitches and that we haven't deviated, haven't dropped a stitch, haven't accidentally added a single crochet stitch in that stitch space the spike stitch was supposed to take. We want to make sure we're staying on track. That way also we don't accidentally put a stitch here in this slip stitch space thinking it's a stitch space when it's not, it's a join. Okay, so what we're going to do next, guys, this was round 7. For round 8 and round 9, we are just making 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch across. That's it. Working continuous rounds. Make sure you pull out your stitch marker so that way you can mark where the round begins, where the round ends, and you don't lose that. Also, what you will notice here with the pattern in the adult medium size and a couple other of the sizes is the pattern stays consistent. It's 3 rounds, and then the first round will have a spike stitch and then 2 round single crochet. First round new color, spike stitch, 2 round single crochet. Okay, this is going to be kind of a short-lived section before we start having to close in the top of the beanie and adding decreased stitches, but it's going to stay very consistent, and each color is going to be 3 rounds tall. Okay, unless we're going for smaller patterns, and some of the smaller patterns you have less rounds, but we're staying in that degree of keeping thicker 1 round spikes, 1 round solid single crochet stitches. Hope that helps, especially with this pattern, knowing what to expect moving forward. Okay, so single crochet right there, stitch marker, and continue. I will meet you at the end of round 9. We are going to start decreasing in round 10. I'm going to show you what we do and how we do it. It's at row 10 that or round 10, that we start doing the decreases to start shaping the top of the beanie for the adult medium beanie. This is how I do my decreases to kind of hide the decreases in a way, and it's different than how I would decrease in other patterns. So I am on red next. Slip stitch into the same stitch space that we just slip stitched into to close round 9. Chain 1, single crochet into that same stitch space. Great. Single crochet into the next stitch space. Perfect. All right, what we're going to do next, I am calling the single crochet spike stitch together. It's a decrease. So I'm going to insert my crochet hook into the next stitch space, yarn over, pull through, and then I'm going to find the next stitch space and follow it all the way down to that first round of that color, spike stitch. So I have the 3 loops on my crochet hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops for a single crochet spike stitch together. And then I'm going to go ahead and repeat 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and then single crochet spike stitch together. Single crochet, next stitch space, spike stitch together. 1, 2, single crochet, spike stitch together. 1, 2, single crochet, next stitch space over, spike stitch together. That's it. Repeat all the way around for round 10. And single crochet in that last stitch space there. Move all the tails to the back. All right, guys. It is the spike stitch round that we do all of our decreases in, because we can hide the decrease with that single crochet spike stitch, forming that into one stitch space. It's kind of a really good hide. For the next 2 rounds, we're just making 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch space all the way around, like we have with the other sections here. So again, make sure you have your stitch marker handy. I will meet you in, so this was 10, then 11, 12. I'll meet you at the end of round 12 to show you round 13, where we are doing the spike stitch decrease again. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in here, single crochet, and mark it. Great, I will see you very soon. Okay, just finished round 12. I'm gonna go ahead, slip stitch to close round 12. Move my stitch marker, cut, and tie off. Next color, move all that out of the way for you. Okay. Now again, so round 13 is another spike stitch round, but it's also a decrease round. So slip stitching to attach the new color. Great, and chain 1. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and single crochet in the same stitch we just slip stitched into. And then we're going to go ahead and do our single crochet spike stitch together. So single crochet in the next stitch space, but pause. Next stitch, go all the way down to the very first round of this color. There we go. And you'll notice that starting in round 13, the spikes are not hitting as in between the spikes as we want. The spikes are kind of having more of a mind of their own. That's okay. It's fine. What's happening now is we are decreasing, and so the stitches are shrinking and we're having less space to put things. So it's okay. I just don't want you to think that, oh my gosh, this spike stitch is not hitting in the middle. What's wrong? What's happening? It didn't matter where I placed the spike stitch to begin. Somewhere in this round, the spike stitch ended up hitting right on top of another spike stitch because of the number of stitches. Okay, so single crochet in the next stitch space, and then single crochet spike stitch together. Great. Single crochet, spike stitch. And that is the new repeat pattern, guys. I'll see you at the end of round 13. All right, guys, we're about to close round 13. We're just going to continue round 14 and round 15 like we've done before, making one single crochet stitch in every stitch space around. So go ahead and begin by single crocheting right into that first stitch space. Placing your stitch marker, marking it off. Awesome. All right. So this is 13, 14, and 15. Single crochet in every stitch space around. I will meet you at the end of round 15 to show you what we do next. Okay, so it is actually round 16, 17, and 18 that we will really close and finish everything off. So I'm just going to go ahead and stay consistently with you throughout these next couple rounds. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off, because each round is going to be different. So slip stitching into this next stitch space, tying off the work and grabbing the last color. And of course, the last color has to be black. So do me a favor, guys, and just kind of listen to what I am saying and refer to what you're doing in your project. So that way, hopefully you're able to see what I am doing through your own work. Okay. Slip stitching into that first stitch space. Great. Chaining one. Perfect. Okay, so for round 16, we are basically doing something very similar to what we did before. We're going to make 2 single crochet stitches and then single crochet spike stitch. So single crochet in the same stitch space that we just slip stitched into, single crochet in the next stitch space, and then single crochet spike stitch. What I tried to do here is I tried to get that spike stitch to be a little more in line with everything, make it make sense. Single crochet in the next 2 stitch spaces, single crochet, spike stitch together, and then making one more single crochet stitch here. Great. Pause. All right, so that was round 16. For round 17, we are going to just make a decrease single crochet and then single crochet repeat. So inserting our crochet hook into the next stitch space, yarn over, pull through, inserting our crochet hook into the stitch space after that. So now there's 3 loops on our crochet hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops for a single crochet decrease, and then 1 single crochet. Single crochet decrease, 1 single crochet, all the way to the end. That's where we're going to pause. I did not add a stitch marker to mark off my spots, but I paused right here where I noticed there was a difference here in the single crochet stitches between the spikes, and that I now see 2 rows here opposed to just the 1. Last round, round 18, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my stitch marker here. You're going to make a decrease single crochet stitch in every 2 stitch spaces around. Just decrease single crochet every 2 stitch spaces for round 18. So inserting crochet hook into the first stitch space, yarn over, pull through, inserting crochet hook into the second stitch space, yarn over, pull through, and decrease, marking that spot. There we go. Decrease single crochet, decrease single crochet, decrease single crochet. So there's 3, 4. Just met up with that stitch space. Perfect. Go ahead and remove that stitch marker. Inserting your crochet hook into that stitch space the stitch marker was in. Yarn over, pull through the loop on your crochet hook for a slip stitch. Grab your scissors. Cut a long enough tail that it's about 8 to 10 inches long. Roughly, doesn't have to be exact. Yarn over and pull through the loop on your crochet hook for a tie off. Now what you'll notice is there's still a hole in the middle here. It's not closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tail, take my crochet hook, insert my crochet hook from the inside of the beanie out, yarn over and pull through. I'm going to weave this tail through, so I'm going to come from the outside, next stitch space, poke in, grab that long tail. I want to make sure I'm grabbing just that tail, and pull out. Weave in and out of the top stitch spaces here. You're going to want to end by pulling the tails to the inside of the beanie. That way when we tie them, everything's tied on the inside of the beanie and not on the outside of the beanie. And when I flip my beanie inside out, you see all these lovely, glorious tails that we're going to weave in. These long tails at the top, we're going to pull them, cinching the top closed, then inserting our crochet hook into a stitch space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the loop for a tie off. Perfect. Our beanie is done. The main body, the brim, we'll have to weave in the ends. The next thing we're going to do though is we're going to make the pom-pom for the top. Now the pom-pom of course is optional. If you don't want a pom-pom, then don't add a pom-pom. Feel free to be done here, weave in all your ends, but I think the pom-pom's extra fun. So let's go ahead and make the pom-pom next, and then I will show you how to attach it, and then we will be complete. To make the pom-pom, there's actually 2 different ways that you can make a pom-pom. One is by using just your hand, wrapping the yarn around your hand, and then, well, I actually have a whole tutorial showing you how to make a pom-pom with just your hand. I'll put it in the cards right here in the very top of the screen. So if you'd like to reference that, you can. In that same video, I show you how to make a pom-pom with a pom-pom maker. And that's basically how I'm going to make this pom-pom for this particular beanie, the one I'm wearing right now. I used this pom-pom maker. Now, this pom-pom maker measures 4 inches in diameter. So it's the biggest one in my set that I have. And so just reference either a 4-inch in diameter pom-pom for yourself, or just use whatever pom-pom size you're excited to use for your beanie. It can be whatever size you want. Okay, so to make a really fun pom-pom, I like using all the colors that I incorporated in the beanie itself to tie everything together. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'm going to grab each color. And to make it even, I'm going to go ahead and grab both of the blacks, treating them as if they were one, so it is the same thickness as the other 2 yarns. All right, so I'm going to start on this side. Doesn't really matter where you start, just make sure both of these are together, held in place, and then we're wrapping around, and I'm going to go over those strings just to kind of make sure that they are secure and I can move on. They can twist all you want, and you can make your layers as thick as you want. Keep in mind, the thicker the layers here, the more poofy and full the pom-pom will be. So I really like my pom-poms really poofy. I like mine really full-bodied and thick. So I'm going to keep going around and around and around. Great. Generally, I'll try to get it so full that when I look at the top, I can barely see the blue here or the top of the plastic here on the side, but I can't see any plastic on either side here. that you would see on this side. Okay, once it's as full as you want it to be, but hold the yarn tight and close. Then carry the yarn over to the other two, and then wrap around. And when it's as full as you want it to be, close that side. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that open. Close that. Great. Grab your scissors. You can cut however close you want to the side here. Great. Now we have this part done. The next thing we do with the pom-pom maker is come to the side where there's an opening. Insert your scissors into that opening here between and just start cutting away. And continue. Trying to keep everything still in place. There we go. So it's now cut all the way around. Lay that down. I'm going to grab all three again. 3 colors. Long enough strand here. Going to insert these yarns in between and push so they insert in. Come all the way around. Perfect. There we go. Now I'm going to tie a knot before I move forward and separate these out. Really tight. Great. Knot. Great. Then release the pom-pom maker. Open it up. Looks like this one got caught, so I'm going to come in and just trim those. Release. And you have your pom-pom. Now you'll notice that it's still attached here. I want this string to be long enough for both of these to enter into the beanie and be able to tie a knot to secure the pom-pom to the beanie. So I'm going to make these just a little bit longer. You'll notice when you see this pom-pom that it is not perfect by any means whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around and I'm going to trim these as close to the other, like in line with the others. But no, your pom-pom is not going to be perfect. If you keep trying to trim your pom-pom to be perfect, eventually you're not going to have a pom-pom anymore. So embrace the imperfections of the pom-pom. If there are some that are radically sticking out and you're like, ooh, yeah, those are really sticking out there, you can trim those. But if it's just kind of sticking out just a little bit, leave it alone. Let it be. Let it be. That's what adds character. Just kind of play with it, mess with it, but be sure not to cut these strings. You don't want to cut those because we need those to attach this pom-pom to the beanie. Grab your beanie. Insert your hand inside the beanie so that way you can see the very top of it. I'm going to take my crochet hook, insert it into the beanie, and I find the center hole. I'm just going to have that crochet hook come on the side of that center hole. Take one group of yarn strands, yarn over, and pull those inside the beanie. There we go. Then go diagonal across the hole. Insert your crochet hook that way and grab the other strings and pull those strings on the inside of the beanie. And then what I'll do is I'll come on the inside and I'll grab those strings from the inside and then I'll flip the beanie inside out. Because right now I just want to find all of these strands attached to the beanie and I want to tie those in a knot and secure this pom-pom to the top of the beanie. Have you ever seen a beanie that has a floppy pom-pom that doesn't look attached to the top of the beanie? That drives me crazy. So I really try to secure as much as possible. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't like to secure your pom-pom to your beanie, you want it to be removable, so that way you can easily wash the beanie if you need to and not worry about the pom-pom getting ruined in any way, then feel free to add a button. Instead of attaching these strings to the beanie itself, attach these strings to a button and then make the button at the end of the pom-pom, and then the pom-pom will just kind of slip and attach onto the beanie. There's other methods and other ways that you can see in that video that I had just like up in the cards there as well. All right, so then what I'll do once I've tied lots of knots is I'll cut these tails fairly close. And then I don't need these anymore. This was the tail that closed the top of the beanie. So I can close that or cut that pretty close too. Now this is optional. If you think that this is secure, this is fine. I mean, you really don't have to do anything more. But what I do is I go an extra step and I add Fabric Fusion fabric glue that dries clear and flexibly. I add just a dot to this knot. And that looks like this right here. It's the only stuff I trust, only stuff I will use is this quick dry fabric fusion from Alumni. I don't really trust anything else. So I will come here, I'll put just a small dab on top of the knot. Great. And then I will just lay these tails over the top. And now it's secure. And you don't have to worry about anything coming undone. Perfect. Okay, then turn everything inside right. And that is your beanie, guys. Look how cute this is. I'm going to tuck these tails in here so you can just enjoy how this beanie looks right here. Your beanie is done. Last thing that you will need to address is just weaving in all of these gorgeous ends here to clean everything up, and you are good to go. I hope you enjoyed the beanie. If you need help with weaving in your ends, maybe the strategy that you're using just isn't working, I have some great tips that I will put in the cards or right up here. I'll link for the video that I have showing you how to weave in your ends, a couple different methods. So if what you're working or using right now doesn't work, try one of these other methods. I really like going one way, weaving in and through strands of yarn, and then doubling backwards. That seems to be my favorite go-to way of weaving in my ends. All right, guys, I hope you love it. All right, guys, what did you think of the Alumni beanie? I had so much fun making this beanie. I really hope you do too. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. I would also love to hear what color combinations you plan on making your beanie in. That's gonna be so much fun. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do all the things. Like this video, it's great feedback for me, letting me know you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my upcoming videos. I have some great quick makes that I plan on making to inspire you, have more fun with crochet in a quick way. Also, if you want more out of my channel or would just like to check out all of the other options I have to provide for you, check out my membership program. I have a couple different levels there I think you will really enjoy. Thank you so much for watching my video, guys. If you liked my beanie video, I have so many more for you to check out. Got a playlist right here for you to keep going, keep crocheting with me, keep watching and hanging out together. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, guys. I will see you with the next one. Bye.